Hi girls, this is lesson 3.1. It's about duplicating line segments. This is just a supplementary video to recap what we did in class and just so you can see some demos. So in this lesson, we're going to use our geometric tools. So either our compass and our straight edge, that's for constructing, or our ruler and our protractor and a straight edge for drawing, or just a pencil for sketching. So the first slide and on your note sheet, you see we have a couple key terms. The first term is sketch. And when we sketch, we are drawing freehand. So freehand, drawings, no construction tools, no measurements. When we actually draw something, that's a little bit different than sketching. So if on a test it asks you to draw, you will actually use tools. You'll use your ruler, your protractor, a straight edge maybe, but tools that measure. And then lastly, when we're constructing, when we construct, we don't use tools that measure, but we still use tools. So tools that don't measure would be like a compass and a straight edge. So if on a test it asks you to construct, you will not use your protractor. Instead, you'll use just a straight edge and a pencil and a compass. But if it asks you to draw a 90-degree angle, then you'll use your protractor. So let's start with duplicating a line segment. So first it says to draw segment AB that's 2 inches. So to do that, I'm going to use my geometric tools. I'm going to use a ruler. And it says to draw a segment that's 2 inches. So I'm going to start at 0 and go to 2. And I'm going to name that segment A, B. So to duplicate this line segment, I'm not going to draw a 2-inch segment, but it does say to draw a segment with endpoint C. So I'm going to use a straight edge, and I'm just going to draw some segment. I'm not going to measure it, I'm just going to draw it with endpoint C. And I'm actually going to make mine a little bit smaller than this, but you can make it however big or however small you want. It says set compass equal to AB. Actually, maybe I should make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to get rid of my ruler, and I'm going to take out my compass. And I'm going to set my compass so that it is equal to this first segment, AB. So you'll have to size your compass however big, well, it'll be 2 inches, but however big the segment you drew was, 2 inches long. Okay, so I'm going to use this. And then I'm going to set my endpoint of my compass on endpoint C. And I'm going to draw an arc. This arc tells me that this segment between C and this arc, this intersection of the arc and the segment, is the same as this distance because I set my compass so that it's that exact same width. And now I'm going to label this D. So now if I take out my ruler again, so this is me constructing. So I just constructed a segment, a duplicate segment. AB is the same as CD, but just to double check, let's actually measure it. Take out your ruler, and look at that, it's exactly 2 inches. So that's how you construct a duplicate segment. The next step is to construct a duplicate angle. So the first step I'm going to do, it says draw angle DEF equal to 50 degrees, and ED is equal to 3 centimeters, and EF is equal to 2 centimeters. So I'm going to use my protractor. And I'm going to draw a 50-degree angle. So I'm going to mark my vertex first, and I'm going to put my protractor right on that vertex. And I'm going to mark exactly where it's 50 degrees and exactly where it's 0 degrees. And then I'm going to connect all 3 of those points to form a 50-degree angle. So using my straight edge, okay, so this angle should be exactly 50 degrees. And then secondly, it says to make it so ED is 3 centimeters and EF is 2 centimeters. So again, it says to draw, so I'm going to use my ruler. So I'm using centimeters this time. Make mine a little smaller so we can see it. All right, so here we go. This is the point where it's 3 centimeters. So that's my D. Label that D. And here is the point where it's 2 centimeters. And that is my F. So my next step now is to duplicate the angle. That's my goal, is to duplicate this angle DEF, where ED is 3 centimeters and EF is 2 centimeters. So I'm going to start by not worrying about how long the segments are. I'll worry about duplicating the segments after I have my angle, but I'm going to focus on the angle first. So I'm going to start by using my compass. And with my compass, I'm just going to measure any arc. It doesn't matter how big or small it is, but my arc has to intersect with EF and ED. And I'm going to keep my compass settings the same, but I'm going to draw a segment at the bottom of my page. And this segment is going to have endpoint G. So I'm not going to use a ruler. I'm just going to draw with a straight edge. So I have segment with endpoint G, and then I have this arc that intersects EF and ED. Now I'm not going to change my arc settings, but I'm going to move my compass down to endpoint G, and I'm going to draw another arc. Now this arc tells me that the distance between here and here, and this isn't really point F, but between vertex E and wherever this arc intersects is the same distance as vertex G and wherever this arc intersects. Now my next step is to measure actually how big the arc is between ED and EF. So I'm going to take my compass and I'm just going to put it on where it intersects with EF and where it intersects with ED. So I'm going to measure that exact width. So here's where ED goes through this point. Okay, now I'm going to keep my compass settings the same, and I'm going to move it down to my new segment where I have that arc. I'm going to do the same thing, draw a little arc that intersects with my big arc. Now this point right here, this is some point that's similar to ED. So if I connect vertex G with that point, just like this, and I measure that, that should be exactly 50 degrees. So go ahead and test it with your protractor and actually measure it to make sure it does equal 50 degrees. Oops. And then our last step is to duplicate those segments. So now I want to use my compass, and I'm going to set my compass equal to EF. And I'm going to use that to mark another point on this new angle that I just constructed. And I'm going to do the same thing with ED. I'm going to measure how far D is away from E. And I'm going to use that to construct a point on my new angle. So I duplicated the angle first, and then I duplicated the segment. So now it says mark I and H so that GI is parallel to ED. So here's my I. And this would be 3 centimeters. And H so that GH is congruent to EF. So this would be my H point. And if I use my ruler, those should measure exactly the same. This should be 2 centimeters right here between G and H, and it should be 3 centimeters between G and I, and same with E and F. 2 centimeters here and 3 centimeters here. So that's how you reconstruct an angle, duplicating an angle. So please jot down any questions that you have, and then you can bring those questions to class next time I see you. Thanks.